when we started working on this case, we came up against a company which is one of the great American success stories. It grew extraordinarily fast, and it grew with a kind of a culture that was very much ingrained in it. Parts of that culture are extremely admirable. It's adoptive. It is very sophisticated in some ways, but in some ways they've missed the boat entirely. And the classic example is the way they treat their female employees. This is a company that the majority of employees are women, always have been. But the majority, the vast majority of senior management is male, and that's always been true. The image of who a manager is at Walmart is very much tied up with that culture from the very beginning. They have a kind of an image of a guy, and it is a guy, who can pick up at a moment's notice, move constantly, who is very aggressive, very ruthless in a way in keeping costs down and moving forward. Even the founder of the company, Sam Walton, recognized shortly before he died in the early 90s that this was disadvantaging women, that they were losing, as he put it, a lot of smart women. But no change happened at Walmart. The model that they had remained the same to this very day. To be a plaintiff in one of these cases is a real challenge. Nobody welcomes being a plaintiff in a case like this, because you're under the microscope, particularly to be a plaintiff and go to work every day, as Betty Dukes does. Betty's been working out there. She's out there 5 days a week. She is known at Walmart as the name on this lawsuit, you know, and she's caused them no amount of pain and discomfort over the years. She is still an hourly employee, just barely getting by. What sustains her is that this case will change the company and will make a difference for all the women at the company. It's always been very important for her. And I'll tell you a story about Betty, which I've told this before, but it tickles me to this day. When I had my first meeting with Betty, I had the kind of conversation I have with any potential plaintiff. I said, Betty, there's two kinds of plaintiffs. One is they're discriminated against, and it just destroys them. They are just destroyed. Another kind of plaintiff, they get discriminated against, and it's bad, but they get up and move forward. Which kind of plaintiff are you? Now, Betty's a lay preacher. Betty looked at me and said, I'm kind of like Moses at the Red Sea. And that's how she's seen this case. She's seen it no matter the toughest days. She knows and she understands she has a role, as do the other plaintiffs, every one of them. They're now, in the very real sense of the word, a representative of that class of millions of women out there. And they accept that burden, and it's very much a burden. You know, nobody does this for 10 years, certainly not to make money, because nobody's made any money on this case, and they may never make any money. But they're doing it because they firmly believe that something very unfair was happening, and that this is a way, hopefully, of changing that. Well, if we ultimately prevail in this case, and I'm confident we will ultimately prevail, I don't know exactly when, but it's going to happen, what will happen is it will transform the way Walmart does business, and it will set a marker for all corporations to understand that there are certain basic things that they need to do, that they cannot hide behind their size. They can't hide behind the fact that individual lawsuits aren't going to hurt them anymore. They have to be vigilant about what they're doing. It means that the human resources side of the company, which traditionally is not where the power is, but when you're looking at what are the rules for pay and promotion, when you're talking about oversight and reviewing that, that needs to be given strength, and that needs to be paid attention to. Well, I've learned never to make any predictions, but I hearken back to Betty Dukes, our named plaintiff. Betty is a woman of faith. She's a lay minister. She has told me at various times in this case that she sought assistance from a higher power, which has never let us down so far. And Betty's praying for this one, so hopefully we won't be let down again.